Can you drive after a DUI charge in Tennessee? The answer is complicated and timing is critical. After arrest, your license is confiscated. You can't drive for 48 hours, and this is mandatory. Only a judge can authorize an early release. You're automatically grounded in those first 48 hours, no exception. And this happens pretty much with every DUI arrest. It's partly for safety reasons, but it also gives the system time to process all your paperwork. Now here's the scary part. If you decide to drive anyway during those 2 days, yes, even if it's really important, you might get slapped with the driving on a suspended license charge. And those come with their own set of headaches like jail time and going even longer without your license. Now, if there is some kind of serious emergency, you absolutely have to drive. Call an attorney like me right away. Now, I might not be able to get an emergency order from a judge because those are hard and rare, but a judge might be able to grant one if the situation is really extreme. Next comes the administrative suspension. If you refused a breathalyzer or blood test, you face an automatic 1-year suspension under Tennessee's implied consent law. If you did those tests, but you tested over .08, that's typically a 1-year suspension for first offenses. Now here's something most people don't realize. The license suspension is totally separate from your actual criminal case. Licenses are handled by the Department of Safety, not the courts, who are dealing with your DUI charge. So if you refuse to take the test, they'll suspend your license for different periods depending on your history. Now, if it's the first time, you're going to go a whole year without driving. Second time, that's 2 years. After that, still 2 years, but now you can't even get a restricted license to drive to work or church. Now, if you did take the test and you failed it by blowing a .08 or higher, the suspensions look like this. First offense, you're not driving for a year. Second time around, that doubles to 2 years. Third offense, now we're talking about 3 years off the road. After that, fourth or more, you're gonna have at least 5 years without driving privileges. And get this, even if your actual DUI charge gets dismissed or reduced to something less serious, these suspensions still stick. They're administrative. The criminal stuff and the license stuff are like two completely different worlds. You have just 10 days to request a hearing to contest this license suspension. If you miss this deadline, you lose your chance to fight it. Now listen, because this is super important. That 10-day countdown starts ticking from the day you were arrested, not when you eventually get around to telling your lawyer about your suspension. And you gotta submit this request in writing to the Tennessee Department of Safety. At this hearing, if you got a good attorney, like somebody from Litson DUI, we can fight back on several fronts. First, did the officer actually have a legitimate reason to think you were driving under the influence? Was your arrest even legal in the first place? Did they properly explain the whole implied consent thing to you? If they say you refused the test, did you actually refuse it? If you took it, did they actually do the test correctly? You wouldn't believe how many people completely miss this deadline or try to handle these big hearings on their own. That's a mistake. Your chance of winning drops like a rock if you're not going to do this with an attorney. That's why at Litson, we're going to talk to you about whether we need to file a request to have a hearing like this right away. We're not about to let you lose your right to fight that license suspension. Now, restricted license options do exist. You may qualify to drive to work or medical appointments, maybe school if you're a student. These special licenses, some folks call them hardship licenses, basically let you drive just enough to keep your life from falling apart. What you're not allowed to do depends on the situation and honestly which judge you get. Typically though, you'll generally be allowed to drive to your job during work hours, school stuff if you're a student, or maybe picking up your kids from school. There's also mandatory DUI classes or treatment programs they make you attend to have these restricted licenses. Church once a week, they'll allow that sometimes, but they're pretty strict about the once a week part. If you have a probation officer or restricted license, we'll genuinely let you check with them. Same for doctor's appointment. But here's the thing. These licenses spell out exactly where you can go, which routes you can take, and when. If you're caught driving outside of those confines, bam, you're looking into a charge for driving on a suspended license, which is a whole new headache. Getting one of these restricted licenses isn't simple. You need to pull together all kinds of paperwork proving why you need to drive. That could include letters from your boss, school enrollment forms, medical appointment schedules, you name it. And it's definitely one of those times when having an attorney handle the application is really worth every penny because they're going to know exactly what documentation will convince a judge to get you that restricted license. The requirements are strict. An ignition interlock device, high-risk insurance called SR22, reinstatement fees, and compliance with court mandates. That ignition interlock thing, it's basically a mini breathalyzer that's attached to your car. And if it smells alcohol in your breath, it won't let your car start, period. And don't think you can just have a sober friend start it for you. The device randomly makes you blow into it while you're driving. They call these rolling retests. Fail one of these and it gets reported straight to authorities. Next thing you know, you're looking at extended requirements or even more penalties. Now, getting one of these gadgets isn't cheap. Installation can run from $70 to $150 up front, and then you're on the hook for a fee of $60 to $80 every month to monitor them. Plus, you have to take it in every month or two to get calibrated. Of course, you have to pay for that as well. And again, you can't just go anywhere. You have to go to one of the approved providers that the state lists. Then there's that SR22 insurance. It's basically a scarlet letter telling insurance companies that you're high risk. Your premiums are going to shoot up anywhere from 80% to a whopping 400%, depending on your driving record. And if you miss a payment, you lose that coverage. And your license is going to get suspended again instantly. Oh, and don't forget the reinstatement fees. It's about $360 for first-timers. That's on top of all the court costs, the fines, the mandatory education programs they make you take before you can even apply to get a restricted license. The thing that most people don't realize is that all these requirements keep going, even after your criminal case is over and done with. So if you have a tiny violation of your restricted license terms, you can get a full suspension slapped back on you with extra penalties for good measure. At Litson DUI, we can help protect your driving privileges. The cost of hiring proper defense counsel now is far less than the long-term consequences of facing these charges on your own. Let's talk dollars and cents for a minute. Yes, hiring us or a lawyer like us is an investment. We're not going to pretend like it's not. But here's the reality. Facing a DUI charge without proper legal help typically costs people upwards of $20,000 when you add up the maximum fines, those sky-high insurance rates, lost wages from jail time, or not being able to drive to work, and all the other expenses that pile up. When you look at it that way, getting good legal help at the front end just makes financial sense. Now, before you go out, do yourself a favor and save our number right now. Just add Litson DUI to your contacts at 615-985-8205. We'll include the number in the description of this video. Trust me, it's a lot easier to have our number already saved in your phone if you ever find yourself in a tough spot at 2 a.m. So don't wait until you're in trouble to get smart about your rights. You can watch our other content now, save our number, and drive safe out there.